In this episode of the Texas Private School Podcast, Houston St. Pius and St. Thomas duke it out for Division One supremacy. The Fernandez brothers and the Woodlands Christian will try and flex their muscle over SBC contender Episcopal. Kinkaid and Second Baptist will go head to head for the fifth consecutive year. Oakridge and Houston Christian will kick off SBC 3A play with what feels like an elimination game. And district season opens under the lights of 426 North San Felipe. All this and more in the Week 5 preview of the Texas Private School Podcast. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Texas Private School Podcast. I, as always, am one-third of your hosting crew, Wes Tolleson, joining you from Dallas, Texas. Walker Lott and Ryan Schroeder join me from College Station and Oklahoma City, respectively. Ryan Schroeder may be in mourning, maybe in celebration with the recent news of the firing of the legendary, the mullet, the I am a man, I am 40, Coach Mike Gundy. Ryan Schroeder, is this a sad time or a happy time north of the Red River?
Well, I mean, this is going to be a boring answer, and this is going to seem like I'm like too favorable to coaches, but it's always sad when a coach gets fired. Like, obviously, that's someone losing their job. I know he gets paid millions of dollars and stuff, but ripple effects down the whole entire athletic department. And so it's a sad day for sure. But legendary coach, 17 winning seasons in a row, 30 years with the program through, playing part or being an assistant coach, now being head coach. So, legendary coach, one of the best, obviously the best in OSU history. I'm pretty sad, but overall, you just gotta get past it. But always a sad day when coaches get fired, in my opinion. Just because I try to resonate with him sometimes. But he's getting 15 million to walk away, so he'll be fine.
That's a good
Ryan, you
point.
are Walker. He is much more sympathetic to his coaches than I think typical A&M fans are. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, but the thing about it is his coach won. You know what I mean? Every coach we have had didn't win,
I
if that
mean,
makes sense.
did
With a
Gundy
lot
ever win a
more.
New Year's Six Bowl?
Yeah, he did, but he never won. He never won a Big 12 championship game. He just won the Big 12 before there were games back in the day. Like that was his big fault is he never won the Big 12 championship game.
But I don't mean this as an insult, but it's like Oklahoma State. I think like what he did there is very impressive, if that makes sense, right? Where A&M, you had a
Did
blank check to do
Are you little
everything,
are you
and
little boying me? You're little
no,
boying
I'm
me down.
not, because
Okay.
what I'm about to say is going to hurt us even more. Is that
Oh,
A&M, Jimbo, someone had the blank check to do as much as you could, and
oh, I
you
see what you're
still
saying.
couldn't do it.
I see what you're saying.
Like, that's the issue. So, I think what he did at Oklahoma State was awesome. So,
Well,
um,
Jimbo
uh,
went and signed the number one recruiting class of all time. It's just he didn't expect all of those guys to do donuts in a parking garage and then leave the program in 6 months.
no, it's not. And hey, he got 15 million. Freaking Jimbo got 70 million. So, it all like always says, the best job in America is being a just underachieving coach, but having a season right before that was unbelievable. You just need one season in the first 2 years to be insane, and then you get the biggest buyout possible for the rest of your career.
Dude, with the stress involved in college athletics, I would, if I was a college football coach, I quite literally would just like bust my hind end to have an insane season and then just sandbag it and get
You just
fired
need
and
one.
just go drink Coronas on the beach for the rest of your life, just getting paid, millions of dollars each year. It's the best job available.
Coach
Maybe that
Coach
speaks to my
O literally
laziness.
got Coach O got gifted the best team in America in 2019, and then turned out he wasn't a great coach.
No,
Got
Joe Brady
fired.
won them that
Got
national championship.
right, but what I'm saying is, well, he had Dave Aranda as his DC, and his OC was Joe Brady, who was a magician that year. That's a whole different conversation. That's the college football podcast that we'll start in 10 years. But yeah, Coach O had the best job in the world, won a title, regardless, maybe one of the best teams of all time, and now he's now not doing anything, and which is awesome. So good for him.
No, absolutely it is. Coach O, maybe one of the staples of
Go
the
Tigers.
history and the lore of college football. But that being said, we have a fantastic slate to get through today. Ton of great games. Before that, under our segments tab, I see a highlight that says Walker segment, which always makes me nervous because I feel like we're about to get something sprung on us. So, Walker, I will let you take this away to whatever medieval torture device you have for us.
Y'all have to write an essay, 5 paragraph long. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
Um,
I'd leave. I just did that with the script.
yeah, exactly. No, I want to do like quick, like off the top superlatives of so far because we're officially in district slate. Like we're officially there, right? So we've gone through 4 weeks of non-district for most teams, and we're hitting the next kind of stage of the season. And I want to talk through some like big points to be like, okay, what is this like? Who does this remind you of, and whatever, right? So the first thing when I say is like the team that will cause the most chaos in this season in district slate is what? What team comes to mind?
I hate to stroke your ego. I think it might be Southwest in that in Division Two, District One. It's one of those teams. If it's not Southwest, it's Fort Worth Christian or Midland. But I think from a coming into the season, we discounted the Eagles because, quite frankly, they've been bad for a few years. But we've just seen how much of an impact Trey Mosley's had on this season, and I think that any given team outside of TCS Lubbock could put up a fight against anyone in that district.
Ryan, do you want me to go or do you have one on top of your mind?
I have two, but I'm just gonna choose this one because I was really impressed. I had Bishop Lynch. I think Bishop Lynch could beat one of the top three teams this year, whether that's Parrish, Prestonwood, or Liberty. I think Bishop Lynch cracks one this year.
I think it's a good idea. I think there's two for me, and I think the first one is Fort Worth Christian. I think those are the team that can cause the chaos. I think they're more balanced this year. We already talked about the District of Doom. I think coming back this year, I think they can be kind of the chaos where Midland is kind of looking like that second best team in that district right now after the big win against Cornerstone. Could they do it? The second one is I'll buy in a little bit right now. ESD. After the past couple games,
You're so against them last
I
week.
know, I know. I'll buy in. I need it for the clip, right? I'll pick ESD, man. I think if they can play close to Episcopal, it gets interesting. So I think it's gonna be an interesting one. Can they make the state game? I don't know. But can they cause a lot of people's seasons to end earlier in hope? Yes, absolutely. So that'll be a lot of fun. Okay, next one. Blank is the real deal. Who do you think? Who or what team means that?
That's a good question because um
I feel like there's
I
two answers that are just like obvious, but I don't want to say those two teams.
can I say tentatively Grapevine Faith? I think there's a
Interesting.
good chance. I'm gonna stay inside of District One in Division Two right now. I really think that performance over St. Mike's, who just went out and beat a good Episcopal team, was one of maybe down a little bit this year, but traditionally one of the favorites in SPC 4A. You go out, you put 77 on them, and they don't have slouches running around at defense. I just think that we've been tentative. We know that Cosby's good. We know that Noah Smith's great. I think they're just because we say crazy things on this podcast, I'll go ahead and say that Faith could be the real deal.
Ryan.
I didn't know the definition of the real deal. I think real deal I thought was like literally title contender, but I
I
guess
think
that's
you can easily say that too. Yeah.
okay. What my answer is Austin Regents. I think Austin Regents is obviously one and two and stuff like that, but I think Regents is a closer conversation with All Saints than it was even last year. I think what how they've been playing this year so far, and they're going to run through their district slate. Like I don't know, I'm higher on Regents than I've ever been, and I think this is the year that if there is a chance to beat All Saints, it's this year.
Interesting. Mine will be John Cooper. I think after watching them a couple weeks ago, I am very impressed with this team. To be a real threat into SBC 4A and should make the title game this year. The offensive weapons they have when without even Jacoby Dixon when I saw him play, when I saw John Cooper play, means I just think so highly of this team, right? Colson Collins leading the way. I think they're going to be sensational this year. Kinkaid looks legit too, but I do think I just think the Dragons are legit this year, and I think they are for real. Next one. What team are you buying low on to do better than expected in our preseason rankings so far? Like Wes and his finance background. If it's a stock, what team are you buying low in to be successful at the end of the year that goes, oh, that surprised us?
Hmm. Now I got to remember exactly where we ranked these teams to start the year.
I feel like I'll say mine off rip. It's one that Wes already said. We had Southwest Christian a lot lower than they were supposed to be, right? Like is that the answer, right? I feel like that's one that's really jumped up the list so far. I
Hmm.
don't know a lot of teams really that we had super low that have jumped like Southwest
Right.
Christian. I don't really know if I have another answer, if
That's a
I'm
good
being
one.
honest with
Well,
you.
so here's again, I already said Faith, but we ranked Faith 10th in TAPS Division 2. They're behind a lot of good teams. I think they could sneak up. I'll go out and say ESD, who we ranked dead last in 4A.
I didn't know
Um,
we ranked dead
I,
last.
I
That's
again, we didn't know necessarily the level of talent they had moving into the season. We've seen some really good performances from them up to this point. I think my answer is going to be ESD, partially because we never know anything what happens inside of SBC 4A, and you can just kind of throw a dart outside of like the top two, who we usually know make the championship game, where we're putting Cooper in this year. You throw a dart 3 through 6, and there's a 50% chance you're right. So,
Absolutely. I'll give you three. I'll go quick. I think Dallas Covenant. I'm buying low end to maybe cause some chaos in the playoffs.
mm,
Brazos Christian. We give them CTCS a lot of love to be the favorites in the South. I think they can still cause noise. And the other one, I think, would be Bernie Geneva. I think after the result
mm.
against Cypress Christian, we've talked a lot about Holy Cross. We're about to preview New Braunfels. I think that's the other team that could shock some people and make it maybe a little farther in the playoffs than a lot of people expect. So, next one. This might you might have to think for a second. Future MVP for all divisions. Who is the D1 MVP? Put it on the ding now.
Cooper Witten.
So you switched.
Did I say Jalen Pyle
You
initially?
did. You did in the preview.
I mean,
Mm.
I think Pyle's obviously the best offensive player. And I say obviously with Cooper Witten making a really strong case for that right now. It's just if you think MVP, you think both sides of the ball. Kind of an unfair comparison because Pyle's a great player in the secondary when they put him out there. It's just right now they've got Coop going both ways, and I mean he's the only 5 star in TXPS as of now. So I'm going to take the easy answer and say Mr. Witten.
I'll agree. I mean, I said it during before the season. I think again this one. I think what he's doing on both sides of the ball is sensational against public school elite teams. It's impressive, man. So I'll go Coop as well. Ryan.
Yeah, I think Coop's the right answer. I don't know if there's another answer at the moment besides obviously Jalen Pyle, but Pyle hasn't gotten as many. I don't know. I don't want to say that yet. I think well, after the district slate, I'll give my other opinion about Pyle. I just feel like people know it's him at this point, so they just put 8 guys on him.
Fair. Division two. I'll start. Give y'all time to think.
I think
I'll
I have
go.
mine.
I'll go Jack Devine. I think the stats wise is he's gonna put up insane stats, and I think he's gonna lead them to a state semifinal appearance. And if he wins that game against All Saints, that's MVP. Boom, right there. Like if he can do that, that's the nail in the coffin. Um, I think All Saints. You could talk about a lot of guys from All Saints. I think they're holistically like a great team, but I don't know if there's the standout dude to win MVP on that team.
Yeah,
Wes?
I'm going to go away from All Saints, and I'm going to say Tucker Ashford from Fort Worth Christian. I do think that Fort Worth Christian's got some great offensive weapons, and I don't know, I just drew a blank. Yeah,
Gigliota,
Landon Gigliotta, Cade
Andy.
Crawford, all of them.
Yeah,
I don't know ball, but I think they're fantastic. I think that ultimately, if they get wins over these big teams, it's because Tucker Ashford and company just go nuts defensively and cause a lot of havoc. And plus, I mean, you got to take the K-State guy.
fair enough. Ryan, do you have one?
Yeah, man, he plays both sides of the ball. He's so good on the defensive side of the ball, and I just feel like I've already called him out multiple times as being such a menace and stuff. I actually called him out to even go even harder. I think Caleb Cruz is not the biggest name in terms of like, he's a 5-star like Cooper, or he's the starting quarterback like Jack Devine, or any of these guys that you're mentioning, right? But Caleb Cruz adds so much value for Midland. Basically locks down one side of the field, and then also obviously runs the ball on the offensive side. So give me Caleb Cruz.
Fair enough. I think a sneaky one. If he goes for 2,000 plus yards, Trey Mosley at SES could be in
Yeah,
that running for sure.
for sure.
I can't believe I just guessed SCS so much and didn't even say Trey
That is
Mosley.
funny. Yeah.
I
A
I
lot of
think
non-ball knowledge on my part so far.
I think this is D3, D4 together.
Mm.
Very skeptical because Division three, there's a lot of question marks about that division. So it's hard to say, like, do you do a Jason Fleming at Lubbock Christian, right? Is that the answer? I don't know.
Lincoln Schleif.
I think that's kind of the answer. It has to be one of the First Baptist guys, right?
Yeah, for
Austin
sure.
Evans. If Austin Evans goes for 2,000 yards,
Austin Evans is actually a very good shout. That dude is their entire team.
yeah.
No,
If
that's
Austin
not.
Evans goes for 2,000 yards, man, it might be he definitely might be in the running. So that'll be our answer. SPC, it's got to go Wayne, right? You have to go
Paul
Wayne
Worthington would
Shanks.
like a word.
Cole Worthington, oh, that's a good one.
Wait, I'll say this. I don't think Wayne Shanks has been as good at this point that he was last year, because I mean, look at the
He's got
stats.
11
Look,
guys gunning for him every snap.
but they pass the ball a lot more. Unless I missed the stats from this last week, but
He scored I think he was 100 on the ground, 3 touchdowns.
I
So
know, but they do a lot more through the air now too with
good
what's his
point.
name of the quarterback? What's Ross Wynn.
Right.
Dude. Oh my gosh.
I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to watch.
Wayne only had 42 yards on the ground against SDH, Houston St. Thomas.
Good point.
I still think I think the stats will
Oh, yeah,
come,
2 touchdowns
especially
that game.
against some of the other teams in 4A. But I mean, just the two elite running backs you have between Wayne Shanks and Cole Worthington, and also maybe Kingston Parks, the freshman,
I was
the
thinking,
junior,
yeah,
goes crazy.
yeah.
I
It's
mean,
gonna be
there's
interesting.
just there,
I
there's
would
a
have
plethora
said
of talent.
Jacoby Dixon, but I just think because he's starting so late in the season, he's just not going to have the stats to be like bona fide. But if he dominates in every SBC game, I don't know. That's an interesting
We're
conversation to have.
we're gonna forget someone, by the way. Just want everybody to know
Oh
at
yeah,
home.
this is off the cuff. Like I didn't even share this information with y'all beforehand. Like this is their true first reaction.
No, it's a little pop quiz, but that's what I like.
I have a couple others very
Go on.
quickly. Okay. I'm skeptical about what?
Dallas Christian. I'm skeptical about Dallas Christian. I say that I don't know if I fully believe it. The answer would have been Holy Cross outside of the last two really good wins they've had. DC makes me a little bit nervous. I know they've got great guys like DJ Stanley and company, but losing the best quarterback they've ever had, and apparently they'll tell you the best quarterback that the state's ever seen, Luke Carney. It's just so much to replace. I know Luke Savard and company are good as well, but it's not the dominance we've seen in years past. I'm excited to see that contest between them and Dallas Covenant.
For me, it's St. Thomas. I think it's a bold take, but just Kinkaid game didn't look great. Offensively, we've had a lot of questions over the past 2 years of like, what is this team offensively? This game against St. Pius is going to prove that for me. Am I still a little skeptical as the season goes on, or are they solidified in me that like the defense is legit, but the offense is there too?
My answer is probably also Dallas Christian, but Second Baptist has played such heavy hitters so far that it's just so hard to like say anything like that. Like they're 1-3, but they've scheduled like LSSS, Fourth Christian, ESD, St. John's. They have Kinkaid this week, LSA the next week, is the district game obviously that they have. But I don't know. It's hard. I don't want to say Second Baptist yet. My answer is Dallas Christian so far.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's also smart just with,
Yeah.
knowing Cannon Tune
Yeah.
going down,
Right.
etc. And
Yeah.
they played good teams. So I like pumping the brakes on that a little bit.
For sure. The standout player that you've seen from the non-district slate is
Mm.
Oh, what's the Grapevine Faith kid?
Austin
The
Cosby, the quarterback, or Noah Smith.
I don't know.
Like that I was gonna say physically seen.
Oh, seen. Oh, physically seen.
I'll go first. For me, it's Trey Finney. After watching him week one at Pius, I mean, 200 plus yards of offense, 4 touchdowns or 3 touchdowns or whatever it was. I mean, he's solidified to me that he's one of the best receivers I've seen. So, um, I mean, I'm very excited to see how he can do against the St. Thomas team. We'll talk about it in a second. Y'all
Yeah, to
too?
be honest with you, I'll say it mostly just because I feel like we 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 overshadowed him a little bit due to how good we thought Lucero was going to be. As Jonathan Phillips in week one, his ability to come in the game, get it done with his legs. I didn't realize how good of an athlete that he was until I saw him live. And it's maybe not a ball knower pick taking one of the parish quarterbacks there. That kid's really, really good.
Real.
Uh, my answer is from that exact same game, Burke Toller. I thought Burke Toller was so good. Obviously, we didn't really know a lot about Burke Toller, but the two touchdowns we saw from him and just the offense he created for All Saints, I think that's a name. And then shout out Major Factor for Country Day.
Yeah.
He was impressive this past week as well. Those two guys come to mind for sure.
Okay. Last one. The game you were most excited for as the season goes on into district play. Last one.
Hmm.
For me, I'll give you all a second to look through the game schedule if you want to. This game schedule list. The game for me is John Cooper Kinkaid. Two top 15, 20 running backs in the country going at it in Houston. Uh, Big offensive players on both sides of the ball. Defense is going to be locked down for Kinkaid. I think this John Cooper team is also going to be locked down. That's going to be fun to watch. The other game, Prestonwood, St. Thomas, last week of the season. I mean, what more do you want? It will show how good this St. Thomas team is towards the north, and is Prestonwood that legit if they just purely dominate them?
I think Preston wins that game by 14 points at least right
I
now.
know.
I just we will see. Mine is this really my, yeah, mine's All Saints versus Midland in Fort
Mm.
Worth. And again, partially just because we got shown in a very, very distinct way how good the Mustangs are last week. I cannot it the entire like essence of my commentary moving forward is just going to be Taps Division Two District One. It's so fun this year, but that's definitely my games. You guys like Caleb Cruz, Burke Toller, Jackson Franco, the freshman versus Gavin Beard, the senior. There's so many storylines going into that.
Mine's it's the Tales of those time. I want to watch Jalen Pyle versus Cooper Witten. I feel like that's just like you got two of the best guys in the state going up against each other. I feel like that's has to be my answer. I just feel like that's gonna be a lot of media there as well. Big game, massive names. Dallas Fort Worth.
Real.
Absolutely. No, that's and Walker, does that conclude the
That's it.
question? There we go. So again,
That was good.
little bit of a rocky start with me trying to pull my brain. I was telling this to Ryan, funny enough, just because we're three very busy people and we do a lot of things. And I was telling him on site at Country Day, I said I walked on the field and for like 30 seconds, I was like, I completely forgot who I picked in this game. And also I don't know if I remember a single game that we previewed this week. So I don't know if that's early onset Alzheimer's or some other worm in my brain, but it's incredibly fun. We're not going to forget any of the 5 games this week, and certainly not the first one that we launch into, which is Houston St. Pius versus Houston St. Thomas. The first district matchup in the Division One South could well be the one that decides the district. St. Thomas with the squad we picked to take District 2 in our preseason predictions. This is in large part due to the talent on the defensive side of the ball, with Duke commit Obina Ume terrorizing off one edge, Ryan Kimpson on the other, and Liam McCarthy right in the middle. The Eagles are only allowing 16 points per game on the season, which is impressive considering their opponents have been strong SBC 4A teams in St. John's and Kinkaid, as well as UIL 5A Lake Creek. The offense has talented playmakers as well. Wide receivers Jay Marcantel from the slot and Nate Tidwell on the outside are home run threats anytime they touch it, and senior quarterback Pierce Jacobson does a great job of getting them the ball in space. You add in running backs like Miles Stewart and Javon Waldron, and St. Thomas looks like as complete a team they've been in recent memory. But St. Pius has some star power of their own. Wide receivers Trey Finney and Amir Parks Brooks are two of the top players not in the district, in the division, but in the state as well. Finney, with 8 touchdowns through 4 games as a sophomore, backs that statement up as he and Parks Brooks are going to prove a strong test for the Eagles. Quarterback Noah Carrasco has been on our radar for a while and is quietly one of the top passers in Division One. You pair them with monsters like linebacker Marcus Solis and defensive lineman Murray Sykes, as well as athlete Andrew Kirkland, and St. Pius is proving why they're more than a dark horse to make a run at the district title this season. In terms of gridiron results, St. Thomas has played more established teams and have solid wins over St. John's and Lake Creek and a very respectable performance against a SBC 4A favorite Kinkaid. St. Pius had a good showing week 1 in the loss to TWCA, which they arguably should have won, and then wins over Kelly Catholic and a narrow victory over Houston Christian and a blowout over Kip Sunnyside. The narrative here is St. Thomas's defense with Ume and company versus Carrasco, Finney, Parks Brooks, and St. Pius's electric offense. And at the end of the day, I'm a Ray Davis disciple. I think there's a strong probability Ume, Kimson, and McCarthy get loose and create enough pressure here to disrupt the Panther offense. Give me that Eagle pride. I'm going to take St. Thomas to win this game. Walker Lott.
I think it's very interesting. This game is I'm very, very excited for this one. You talk about the pass rush for the St. Thomas defense has been locked down all year, but St. Pius has had a very improved offensive line going into this year, and I think that's going to be an interesting battle. Might be the key for this team to go. Uh, you know, St. Pius, that first half of that TWCA game made me every hype I gave them in the offseason came true in that first half. But the second half kind of steered me away a little bit. You're gonna have, Trey Finney be one of the best athletes in the state, and he's gonna do that. If you give Amir Parks Brooks the ball in space, he will make magic happen, right? The question is that able to happen? They did it against TWCA, which I think is a very impressive defense. Can they do it against St. Thomas, whose defense I think under Ray Davis is going to be just as good, if not better, right? Um, I really think it comes down to what defense can hold strong. And I think I have to back with just the pedigree and what St. Thomas kind of has done year in, year out. Give me the Eagles. I think they can get it done. Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to victory. Um, but am I worried about this pick? Absolutely. I think St. Pius is the real deal this year. And if they win this game, they solidify a lot of things. All the hype we've given this team, they can do it. This is not an easy win for St. Thomas. Like, this is not like in the past couple weeks that we were like, yeah, that's okay. That's the pick. That's the pick. This is first week in a while. In the past couple weeks, we were like, all right, we're having to sweat some of these picks. And this is one of them, because if they can play like they played that first half against TWCA, this is a rough night for St. Thomas.
Completely agree. Ryan Schroeder, we are on the road to an Eagle party on the program. Are you going to take us home?
Yeah, I think Nate Tibble is going to go for 100 yards just receiving again.
Ooh.
I think St. Thomas is really in the boat again to honestly have a good game here. I'm gonna go a little out there and say this won't be that close. Give me St. Thomas by about 20 points here. I think they pick it up. You got the bye week off this past week. I don't blame them for only scoring 6 points against Kinkaid. Kinkaid has an incredible defense, like incredible defense. The Lake Creek win's impressive. St. John's getting up by 20. I'm impressed. You had a week off. You rested. You get into the district slate. They're at home. I think St. Thomas is going to take care of business against St. Pius and give me 20 on top.
Timeout, timeout. I'm putting
What?
you in. I'm putting you
What?
in timeout because we're not obligated to give score predictions on these games. That's how Walker got us just emasculated last week. It wasn't a score
True.
prediction. Just say, I think this team's going to win the game, and say you think it's going to be close. Stop putting us out there for humiliation.
Do it.
Did you see
But-
the clip that Midland put on social?
but-
They fried us.
Okay. They fired Walker, but I'll say this. I don't care. Because it's gonna sound a lot better when they win by 20 points and then I look like I have ball knowledge. So
Again, we're three
Oh,
idiots
man.
basically that talk into microphones twice a week and are often incorrect.
That was
Take
awesome. Great
as you
job, Ryan.
will.
sorry.
No, not great job. Moving on, we will see Episcopal versus the Woodlands Christian Academy and yet another electric SBC versus D2 matchup in the Woodlands on Friday evening. After hemorrhaging talent in the offseason, Episcopal has had a solid start to this season with wins over Waltrip and St. Michael's, but also losses to established powers Parish by 14 and West Orange Stark by 19. All in all, respectable. I wrote in the script, lacking senior linebacker Mad Morgan will hurt, but since then he has posted, I'm back, tagging us on Instagram, so his return will be a massive boost. They've also cloned him on the defensive line, as junior Deacon Morgan has had a great start to the year with 6 TFLs and 2 sacks. Joined by Travis Johnson and Jacob Campbell on that front, they will have to step up to allow fewer than the 44 they've surrendered on average per game in the prior three. Sophomore quarterback Donovan Warren has been a bright spot for the Knights, tossing 562 yards and accounting for 8 touchdowns on the young season. And with fellow sophomore stud Tyler Williams and junior Ramey Evans at wideout, Episcopal has proven they have the ability to put points on that scoreboard. But few have faced the defensive wall that the Woodlands Christian Academy brings to the table. Prince Holiday, 6'2", 260. Colton Francis, 6'1", 280. Blake Hollis, 6'3", 250. Joshua Cox, 6'2", 240. There are several collegiate programs that might trade fronts with the Warriors. That said, TWCA is still allowing 27 points per game, so it is not necessarily impenetrable. But the reason the Warriors are 4-0 is in large part due to their offensive playmakers, namely Army commit quarterback Santiago Fernandez, brother Julio Fernandez at wide receiver, sophomore speedster Baron Meacham. Listen, this is likely the biggest test for TWCA thus far, and we're going to see if they are actually cut out to win District 4 from the result of this game. And I think they are. We've been high on the Warriors all season long. I love their offensive playmakers. I love their defensive line almost more. EHS has punched above where we thought they would be at this point in the season. I just think TWCA is a real deal contender in Division II, and this is a game that they kind of need to win to put the rest of the state on notice. Walker, a lot of fun storylines from this game. What direction are you swinging?
Hmm.
Mm.
Isn't points.
There's going to be a lot of points in this game. I'll tell you that right now.
There has to be.
There's going to be a lot of points.
And there has to be on one side of the ball. And it has to be on the TWCA side of the ball. When I saw them against St. Pius, that offense just didn't really come correct until like the late third, fourth quarter. It needs to be there all 4 quarters to win this game. I'm going to pick TWCA to win this one. Colby Hole, all those guys over there, do not make me regret this. I am because I had
we
so
can
much.
we do it the other way around. We can't call them out specifically by
I
name,
can.
can't we?
I can. When we have great little relationships down there at TWCA. I'm doing this. I have given this team a lot of praise. The reason they are this high is the hype I have been giving them. I've told these guys, I think this team is legit. They need to. I need to see it. They showed me in the second half of that St. Pius game. I needed this full game against EHS. Monahan is going to come correct, and he's going to have this team ready to go. I like new additions like Ian Pugh, Braden Stevenson, right? I think he's finally getting healthy, and I'm excited to see him go. The new running back that came in from John Cooper is going to be like they're one of their main backs with Baron Meacham letting Braden High Note play the safety position pretty much mainly. I need this win. I need it. I'm going TWCA, but I need a statement win from TWCA here. I need it. I want to see it so I can go on and sing all the praises about what I think this team can be. This is one of the games to show me that they are to that level of the hype that we've been giving them.
I always become nervous whenever we do this. Ryan Schroeder, your thoughts on what I'm hoping is a close contest between 2 good teams.
I mean, I didn't say all that, but no, I'll tell you this. I think all you need to know is that it's death, taxes, and Santiago Fernandez is always going to get 250 total yards. He's going to have 200 through the air, most likely. He's going to, rack up the touchdown. Santiago Fernandez is that dude. He was, quarterback. He won the quarterback award at our TXPS media retreat. He's clearly one of the best, quarterbacks in the state, regardless of division, and TAPS. I'll say this. I understand where Episcopal's at. I see the trajectory that they're moving in SPC 4A. Lots of heavy hitters in the non-district schedule. I'm glad they booked what they booked. It's a great non-district schedule. All things considered, Woodlands Christian is on the up and up this year, and I think they get another one. Or another episode where all
If this happens and EHS wins this game, The burners are going to run rampant
Oh my God.
because they're already in our mention on a very based SPC rankings every week. I could not imagine if EHS wins this game. And do we like where do we jump them? That's going to be the question, right? Because
My brother in
right now in the rankings, we have TWCA over John Cooper and Kinkaid. If they win this game, they're going to want them over Kinkaid, and that's going to be pure chaos. And I am looking forward to it.
We'll probably have to do it just because I'm also mad at you for acknowledging them on the program because now the ferocity is just going to get exponentially worse. I'm just going to see so many like Kinkaid class of 1976, Houston class of 1981 bios, like retired Army Air Force. But yes, I've seen all of your bios. I know how it works. I don't have a life outside of this. That being said, I hate that we gave them credibility, and I also hate that we're all three on the same side for a game. But this is the nature of the program, and we progress nonetheless. Staying in Houston, we now move to Kinkaid versus Second Baptist, and for the fifth consecutive year, Friday will feature a battle of the birds of prey as the Falcons of Kinkaid travel to the Eagles of Second Baptist. Kinkaid has won all four of the prior meetings since 2021, and by an average of 27-15. Last year, this was the Wayne Shanks show. The then freshman rushed for 173 on 45 carries and two of the Kinkaid's three scores on that contest. The Larned-led Falcon defense was an anaconda and slowly crushed the life out of the Eagle offense. But Kinkaid won't be the only side with an elite back, as Langston Davis is a grown man at 205 and is coming off the heels of a 227-yard and four-touchdown performance against St. John's. Sophomore quarterback Casey Dunn has been highly touted within the Eagles camp, and he showed flashes last week. And Cannon Toon is going to make plays wherever he is able to line up on Friday. But there is zero chance Kinkaid loses this game. I know you expect mean reversion to come into play with these two teams at some point, but Kinkaid is just too deep and too physical at this point in the season for me to go away from them. Walker Lott, I realize that I just criticized Ryan Schroeder for making a prediction to the degree at which two teams win, and I just did the exact same. My rationale is that I wrote this script before I criticized Ryan, so therefore I can get away with it. Your thoughts on Houston or on Second Baptist
Just
and
making
Kinkaid?
up rules as we go, dude.
I am.
So-
It's always been this way.
You're about to be even more annoyed because I'm doing it again.
Oh goodness gracious me, oh my!
This does not deserve a mortal lock.
I am mortal locking Kinkaid over Second Baptist. It is going to be a Falcon party over in Houston this week. Pure domination. Sorry, Second Baptist. The Falcons are going to be better than Eagles, showing the bird superiority over there at the Kinkaid school. So that's kind of
Yeah.
funky, by the way.
Wait,
It is kind of
wait,
funky.
That's different than before. Oh, it
It's
just turned
different.
off.
You know, I tried to go fast this time and click just one button. I didn't have time to like find the right one, but there we go.
I think it goes to the sound of your voice.
It does. It does.
Oh,
It
that's
always does
interesting.
that.
I
Yeah,
didn't know that at all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't.
So
Well, Ryan Schroeder, as the resident Second Baptist homer on the program,
Whoa.
I implore you, please, for the love of God, take Second Baptist in this matchup.
I feel like that's like is Cannon Toon back at quarterback?
Perhaps I have no
Oh.
idea. I'm not an
No,
insider.
no. Casey Dunn's got the quarterback. This is what I'll say. Obviously, they got a good win last week, and honestly, Second Baptist is in a position to still win games without Cannon Toon at the helm of the quarterback position. All that being said, I've also told you about Kinkaid at this point. I also have told you that Ross Wynn is more impressive than I would have given him credit for at the beginning of the year. Wayne Shanks is still making plays, even when I said earlier that he didn't only had 59 yards in that game. Well, he also had two touchdowns and had almost what was that 100? I don't even know. He had two touchdowns on the receiving side, so he finds ways to be impactful. All that being said, I think Kinkaid is just a rolling ball of chainsaws. Someone said at one point.
Flo. You already stole Death
What?
Taxes blank from me, and now
What?
you're stealing Rolling Ball of
What?
Chainsaws. Find a different
What?
slant.
What? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just gonna take Kincaid in this game. And I won't say anything crazy, but I really don't think this game will be close. It's not. It's not even gonna be like the St. Thomas game, in my opinion. This one's gonna be even worse.
I hate every pick we've made so far.
Why?
It's a
Why?
no-win scenario for us. If we win, great. We should have
We
made that
get
pick.
edits made of us if we get picks wrong.
It's a
I
Kobayashi Maru. Anyone?
what? Did you just speak English?
Never mind. The people who know, if you know, you know.
Don't bring that weeb stuff on this program. Moving on to Arlington Oakridge versus Houston Christian. Composure. In the second SBC 3A district matchup of the season, we get to see the other two contenders go head to head with playoff implications on the line. This is what is so beautiful about the current SBC format. We've already seen Country Day set themselves up well by knocking TVS down a peg in the prior week, and the winner of this contest will be set up equally well to meet at HEB Stadium come November. Houston Christian has had a rough start to the season, albeit against bigger and tougher teams. 3 losses to Lutheran South, Houston St. Pius, and Houston St. John's, and a win over St. Andrews. That loss to St. Pius was only by 3, which makes you think that we might have been sleeping on the Stangs just a little bit. Jackson Angel, not sure. Looks like one of the better class of 28 quarterbacks, and with weapons like Jackson Barrow at the running back or in the slot, Sam Baca making plays on both ends, and big Graham Heiberg and Sam Nutt in the trenches, I'm much more bullish on Houston Christian now than I was in the preseason. But Oakridge has many reasons to be excited as well, namely electric playmakers Cole Worthington and Kingston Parks. The offense runs through Worthington. Establishing himself as one of the best in the state last season, the senior back has picked up right back up where he left off, starting 2025 with a bang, accounting for 9 touchdowns. Sophomore Hudson Hayes has also been effective in the rushing game as Caleb Walton and Joshua Dees round out a talented receiving core that quarterback Luke Dearman has been very effective in finding, as the Owls have averaged nearly 50 points per game on the season. However, the caliber of teams they have played are significantly weaker than Houston Christian. Coram Deo, Atlas Homeschool, El Paso Coronado, and Cistercian. That said, I really want to take Houston Christian and be a ball knower here, but I really do think this can be Oakridge's year, man. And I'm really going to rock with Cole in them. I do think that Oakridge is a great team. I think they're one of the favorites in SBC 3A. I do think that Houston Christian has been slept on a little bit to this point, but given the information we have available to us, the pick has to be Oakridge. Walker Lott, do you concur?
Firstly, I want to ask, when you said Colonum, is that a reference to Cadenham?
It was. Yes, it was.
So
Oh,
are
I
you
know. I know Caden.
you do know Cadenham somewhat.
I don't. I don't know where. I don't know anything.
2020 Montverde or 2016 Chino Hills to the group.
2016 Chino Hills.
I've seen them both play in person. That's my fun fact for you.
There you go. Answer?
My answer is 2024 Montverde.
Ooh.
Oh, I forgot Cooper Flag was on that team. Yeah, 2024 Montverde.
2024 Montverde, Cooper Flag, Liam McNeely, Asa Newell. There's more, but that's what I got for now.
That's probably the answer, but 2016 Chino Hills made me like watch like Ball's Life mixtapes, and I never did that before, and I do like that was a core memory of my high school days. Going to the pick though, it's absolutely Oakridge here. I think this you have to like this is the game to show okay they're legit this year, and I think they will. Um, I need to see. I'm very intrigued to see what Houston Christian looks like, right? Because the games they've played, it's a lot of losses, but tough teams for an SBC 3A teams to go. On the flip side, for Oakridge, right? A lot of easy teams, easy wins, right? How can they respond? The 6A team is interesting because I don't really know much about the 6A team, and they blew them out of the park, right? So interesting. I just trust in Cole Worthington. I trust in Kingston Park. Luke Dearman looked awesome when I saw him in 7-on-7. Those guys the retreat this summer looked good. Jackson Angel, I'm going to go with that. I think looks, is interesting. He comes over from Episcopal and wins the job right away. That's impressive, man. And so I think he has a bright future ahead of him, and I think he is going to be solid this year. But I just don't think they win this one. I think they're going to be fighting for with Trinity Valley and Country Day for that second spot in that SBC championship battle. But I just don't think they win this week.
Ryan Schroeder.
Yeah, gosh, man. I'm gonna be honest. I definitely don't know as much about these two teams as I know about a lot of other teams. If I'm being completely honest, what I will say from what I know at this point is that Cole Worthington is the man. Like he truly is taking over at Oakridge. Um, Obviously, it's just proving day by day that Oakridge is a valuable asset in SBC 3A this year. Oakridge has made a name for themselves. Obviously, not a crazy non-district slate. They beat Cistercian last week as the open the district. All that being said, my answer is Oakridge here. I think Oakridge is time and time again making a name for themselves, and I, in some aspect or another, am going to have to ride this week. This would be a massive game to go down to Houston and win against Houston Christian, a known hot team in SBC 3A. But you're gonna have to give me Oakridge. They're gonna get their 5-0 start, which would be the first time in a long time. But I'm interested.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I think the pick's Oak Ridge, but like every game on the slate so far, I think it's by a pretty narrow margin. I do like Houston Christian a lot. I love Coach Eisman and the program he's developed. I'm a broken record saying that. I think this is going to be closer than people that are just looking at records think. I do think it's going to be a fantastic contest. And finally, to wrap up the slate, we are going to move back down to San Antonio to preview New Braunfels Christian Academy versus San Antonio Holy Cross, where we will feature two of the top contenders in Division III, District 3. I've got to give a huge shout out to Jacob Bermuda. As I was starting to write the script, and I was like, I know a lot about Holy Cross, not as much about New Braunfels Christian, but we do have somebody that was previously an intern for us that is very well tapped in to all the teams that Holy Cross plays. If you haven't read any of Jacob's writing, it is fantastic. He writes preview and recap articles for Holy Cross every week and also gets a lot of fantastic content. Make sure to go check him out. He does fantastic work. Thank you again for assisting with the script. But in terms of New Braunfels, they had a fantastic start to the year, albeit against subpar competition. A 42-6 win versus Snook, 43-13 versus St. Anthony's, 56-16 versus Somerset, and 29-7 versus D'Hanis. Those teams are 0-4, 1-3, 1-3, and 1-2. So you can't really fault New Braunfels Christian for that, as you can only play the games that are in front of you, but they haven't been tested up to this point in the season. A big reason for their success so far is junior quarterback Brady Joseph, who last year had 2,000 yards passing and 25 touchdowns. He is still playing very well this season. He has a great arm, can make tough throws, really everything you want, and quietly one of the best players in the division. The only question is, how is he going to perform against what's likely a much better defense in Holy Cross? You've also got guys like junior athlete Camden Peterson, who is a huge red zone threat, as well as junior athlete Barrett Thornhill, who has 832 total yards and 9 touchdowns last season. These are last season stats because New Braunfels Christian doesn't have updated max prep, so we are working with what we got. That being said, the point here is that New Braunfels Christian has great athletes on their side of the ball, but we don't know how much they've been tested, whereas Holy Cross is in a different situation. They're 2-2 on the year so far. They dropped their first 2 games to Antonian and San Antonio Christian. And like I said, we were ringing the alarm bells for Second Baptist. We were doing so after that San Antonio Christian loss for the Knights as well. And just like Second Baptist, again, we were proven really quickly wrong when the Knights went out and won the Holy Bowl in week 3. A lot of that's in large part due to sophomore quarterback Rocky Accorzo, who has been the center of attention for the Knights. He's accounted for 14 total touchdowns on the young season, stepping into the shoes left by Gibby Alvarado. Running back Taylor Flores has been an anchor in their ground game with 545 rushing yards on the year. And then you add weapons like senior athlete J.R. Salas and sophomore Crew Hudson. Combine them with a defense that's just been nasty with guys like E.J. Cuervas, Diego Fernandez, and Chris Ponce. I really, really do think that the trenches are going to be the difference here. I don't know how much New Braunfels has, but with the guys I just listed on the offensive and defensive line, like Cuervas, Fernandez, and Ponce, I really, really do think that Holy Cross is set up to win this game. I might be biased since I'm relying on our former intern and the Holy Cross alum for the game prep, but I do think Holy Cross is well established in the trenches, and their schedule up to this point, I think, has prepared them more for this game than New Braunfels Christian. That being said, I want to take a second to highlight how quietly good New Braunfels Christian has been in prior years. Last year, they went 9-2 and 4-1. They just completely blitzed their district. Were undefeated up until that Holy Cross game where they got beat 48-0, but then blitzed through everyone else and ultimately fell in the third round of the playoffs. It's a very, very good culture and team. Walker, I just think that this year we slept on Holy Cross a little bit too much. I still think they're one of the best teams in D3, and I think they go out and prove it against a contender on Friday. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the choice has to be Holy Cross, but I'm really intrigued to see how this goes, right? This is under the new head coach, Coach Joseph over there, after Bronkhorst has left. It's gonna be intriguing, man. Are they about it this year? Are they gonna play it closer? Because I would love to, right? Holy Cross is definitely down, right? I don't think that's a negative. I just think they lost so much in this senior class last year. Did they make any ground? Did New Braunfels, did Geneva make any ground? And this is one of the tests to see, did they make ground, right? If it's a 40-0 blowout and we're sitting here like, okay, Holy Cross, we'll see you in Waco, that is what it is. But I would love to see the opposite of that and be like, okay, I love Holy Cross. I love what they do down there, but let's have some competition in the South, right? And I think this is one of those games to show there is competition or there's just not, right? And we'll see it this week.
I think we will. Ryan Schroeder, for the second consecutive week, we are on the verge of a clean pick slate. And
Ooh.
you saw how that ended last week. So maybe you will throw us a bone and go against Holy Cross so we don't potentially get embarrassed in every game this year.
Yeah, I'm just not gonna do that. But I will. What I was gonna start off with was exactly what Walker just said, which Coach Joseph taking over down in New Braunfels. Super excited. Obviously, a 4-0 start to their season. He has got everything looking perfect for them. I implore them to the fact that I'm imploring them that they're going to have a good season. I'm telling them right now that things are going to be better down the line. I just don't think Holy Cross is the opponent that they're going to get across in their district slate. Holy Cross and Geneva, honestly, are two teams that I've seen more out of than what I would have expected. But there's still a lot of winnable games on the slate. All that being said, great start for New Braunfels Christian. Great start for Coach Joseph. All that being said, give me Holy Cross for everything y'all just said as well.
Alrighty. So for the second consecutive week, I would say that it's boring that we're all on the same side of these games, but ultimately there will be at least two or three of these where the opposite team wins, and we get to see all of that nice stuff on social media. Shout out to Midland Christian again. I had somebody text me today a link to the video. It said, "Sorry, we know we still love you," and I said, "This is maybe the coolest thing I've ever seen." They put like our podcast commentary behind game clips of them winning. It was awesome. And anytime any athletic department ever wants to use our clips, good or bad, go ahead. I think it's elite. It's so, so fun. That being said, gentlemen, that actually is the analysis that we have for this week, and that concludes the week 5 preview slate. It's going to be interesting. Walker, did you put your hand up saying yes or something like you had something to say?
I just wanted to quickly mention that we're all going to be at this week. I will be at Houston Christian versus Oakridge. That's going to be a lot of fun. One of our interns, Addison Harper, will be at the St. Thomas versus St. Pius game. Wes, where are you going to be at this week?
I'm going to be at Southwest Christian at Colleyville Covenant to see the Trey Mosley show live and in person.
And then the last one, I believe our photography intern, Brenna, will be at the St. Mark's versus John Paul II game. So 4 people at a game. Oh, also, our 2 Fort Bend guys, Rhett Terrell and Bradley Hanna, will be covering, of course, the game versus Tomball Homeschool, which is going to be an interesting one. Can they get the get back? So, hey, the TXPS landscape is growing. We have a lot more people covering games. It's always fun. Good times.
Our tentacles are slowly spreading across the entire state. Our reach is limitless, and someday we will cover every game in the state simultaneously. That being said, as always, I have been 1/3 of your hosting crew, Wes Tolleson. Walker Lott and Ryan Schroeder have fantastically been themselves. We will see you in the next episode. See you later.